the principal of a school, employed a mute woman with the goal of humiliating her. Until one day, everything changed. On a warm afternoon in Philadelphia, Anna Martinez walked along a bustling street when her gaze fell upon a young woman sitting quietly against a brick wall. The woman held a simple cardboard sign that read, "Please help, I cannot speak." Her clothes were worn, her face etched with exhaustion, but her eyes revealed a quiet resilience. Anna, the wife of the headmaster of a prestigious local school, stopped in her tracks. There was something about the woman's stillness amidst the chaos of the street that stirred Anna's heart. "Hello, my name is Anna. Are you all right?" Anna asked softly, crouching down to meet the woman's gaze. The woman looked up, startled but calm. She didn't speak. Instead, she gestured at her sign, then to her throat. Anna quickly understood that the woman was mute. "What's your name?" Anna continued, trying to establish trust. The woman pulled out a small notepad and wrote in shaky letters, "Lena Harris." Anna nodded, smiling warmly. "Lena, I want to help. My husband David runs a school nearby. We're looking for someone to help around the school. Would you be interested in a job?" Lena's eyes widened, and for the first time, a glimmer of hope crossed her face. She nodded eagerly. Anna helped her to her feet and, without hesitation, began leading her toward the school. By the time they arrived, the school was empty, the students long gone. David Martinez, the headmaster, sat in his office, engrossed in paperwork. When Anna entered with Lena, his brow furrowed with curiosity and irritation. "Who is this Anna? And why have you brought her here?" he asked bluntly, his tone curt. "This is Lena Harris," Anna said firmly. "She's mute and needs our help. I think we can give her a job here." David leaned back in his chair, folding his arms. "Mute, you say? Anna, this is a school. How will she communicate with staff or students? This could be a problem." Anna straightened her back, her voice unwavering. "David, this isn't just about us. This is about giving someone a chance to rebuild their life. She's intelligent and capable. We can find something suitable for her." After a heated discussion, David reluctantly agreed. "Fine," he said with a sigh. "She can work in the cafeteria, but don't expect me to intervene if it doesn't work out." Anna smiled in gratitude. Lena, sensing the tension, nodded politely but remained silent. As they left David's office, she wrote in her notepad, "Thank you for this chance." The next morning, Lena arrived early, prepared to start her new job in the cafeteria. David, however, saw this as an opportunity to ridicule her. "A mute waitress in a school cafeteria," he muttered under his breath. "Let's see how long she lasts." To everyone's surprise, Lena adapted quickly. She carried a small notepad, writing down orders with precision and communicating efficiently with gestures. Despite her quiet demeanor, her dedication and kindness did not go unnoticed. Teachers appreciated her warm smile, and students admired her patience. Word of Lena's resilience spread, and soon, the cafeteria became a place not just for meals, but for inspiration. A teacher once remarked, "She doesn't speak, but she listens better than anyone I've ever met." Over the weeks, Lena's presence transformed the cafeteria into a place of kindness and understanding. Students started leaving her small notes of encouragement. "You're amazing," one read. "Thank you for the extra fries," said another. David observed all this with growing unease. His plan to make Lena fail was backfiring. Instead of becoming a source of ridicule, she was becoming a symbol of resilience. "She's only getting these compliments out of pity," he muttered to himself. But deep down, he couldn't deny the quiet strength Lena radiated. As the days turned into weeks, Lena's hard work and determination became undeniable. Yet, David's skepticism lingered. He watched her closely, searching for flaws. But all he saw was someone defying the odds with grace and perseverance. Despite his doubts, The seeds of respect had been sown. And for Lena, her journey at the school was just beginning. She had no idea that her greatest challenge and the darkest shadows of her past were about to resurface. Lena Harris had settled into her role at the school cafeteria with remarkable determination. Though silent, her presence spoke volumes. Her small notepad became her voice, and with each gesture, she bridged the gap between her and the bustling school community. Students adored her, teachers respected her, and even the most skeptical staff began to appreciate her quiet strength. But David Martinez, the headmaster, wasn't ready to fully accept her success. He frequently observed her from afar, searching for a flaw to confirm his initial doubts. One day, as he sipped coffee in his office, he noticed a new face in the school courtyard. A tall man with sharp features, wearing the uniform of the newly hired gatekeeper. "That's Jordan," the HR manager had explained. "An experienced worker with a spotless record." David nodded, welcoming the addition to the team. However, what seemed like a routine hire would soon unravel a web of danger. Lena first saw Jordan as she exited the cafeteria with a tray of empty dishes. Her body froze mid-step, her grip on the tray tightening as her eyes locked onto him. It was subtle, but to anyone watching, the fear radiating from her was undeniable. She quickly looked away and retreated to the kitchen, leaving her coworkers puzzled. Later that day, David noticed Lena's unease around Jordan. Her steps quickened whenever she passed him, and her usually calm demeanor gave way to a nervous energy. He dismissed it at first, chalking it up to shyness, but as the days passed, the tension between them became more pronounced. One afternoon, Lena accidentally dropped a stack of plates near the kitchen door. The crash echoed through the hallway, and as staff rushed to help, Jordan appeared. Lena's face turned pale, her hands trembling as she hastily cleaned up the mess. David, observing from his office window, frowned. Something isn't right, he thought. That evening, David called Lena into his office. She entered hesitantly, clutching her notepad tightly. David gestured for her to sit and spoke gently, a rare occurrence. "Lena, I've noticed how you react whenever Jordan is around. Is there something I need to know?" he asked, his tone serious but concerned. Lena stared at the notepad in her hands, her fingers trembling as she scribbled a response. "I can't talk about it, it's too dangerous." David leaned forward, his brows furrowed. "Lena, if there's a problem I need to know, you can trust me." For a moment, Lena hesitated. Then, with a deep breath, she began to write furiously. When she finished, she slid the notepad across the desk. David read the words slowly, his expression shifting from confusion to shock. Lena recounted how, months before arriving in Philadelphia, she had accidentally stumbled upon a horrifying crime. While walking near an abandoned warehouse, she had overheard voices and seen children being forced into a van. She reported the incident to the police, who later uncovered a dangerous child trafficking ring. "I was a witness," the note read. "The gang found out someone had reported them. They started looking for me. A police officer suggested I pretend to be mute, so if they confronted me, I couldn't say anything. It worked. They stopped suspecting me." Lena paused, her pen hovering over the notepad before continuing. "But they didn't forget." Her voice began to crack through the words on the page. She explained how she fled to Philadelphia, hoping to leave the danger behind, but her peace was shattered the moment she saw Jordan. "Was one of them," the note continued. "If he's here, it's because they're still looking for me." David leaned back in his chair, stunned. "You're saying Jordan is part of this gang? And he's working here? At this school?" he asked, his voice a mix of disbelief and alarm. Lena nodded, tears welling in her eyes. David sat in silence, the weight of Lena's revelation pressing heavily on him. He realized the threat wasn't just to Lena. It was to the entire school. The students, the staff, everyone was at risk. "We need to call the police," David said finally. "No," Lena wrote, shaking her head. If he finds out, it could put the children in danger. We need to be careful." David clenched his fists, his mind racing. He wanted to act immediately, but he knew Lena was right. Confronting Jordan without evidence or preparation could escalate the situation. In the days that followed, David worked discreetly. He contacted an old friend in law enforcement, sharing what he'd learned without revealing Lena's identity. The friend promised to investigate Jordan and his connections to the trafficking ring. Meanwhile, David ensured Lena's safety by subtly adjusting her schedule to minimize her interaction with Jordan. He also increased security measures around the school, though he couldn't explain the reason to the rest of the staff. Every day felt like a balancing act, the tension growing with each passing hour. Lena avoided Jordan as much as possible, but every accidental encounter sent a shiver down her spine. One afternoon, as David observed the schoolyard from his office, he spotted Jordan speaking to a group of students. His casual demeanor hid a sinister presence that David now couldn't ignore. "We need to act soon," he muttered, dialing his friend's number again. The pieces were falling into place, but the risk was mounting. David knew that one wrong move could jeopardize everything. And Lena, though terrified, was prepared to face her past to protect the students she had come to care for. The tension in the school was palpable. Students, teachers, and staff continued their routines, unaware of the storm brewing behind the scenes. David Martinez, with the police on speed dial, waited anxiously for the moment to act. The investigation into Jordan had revealed enough evidence to make an arrest, but timing was crucial. A poorly executed plan could endanger everyone, especially Lena Harris. One quiet morning, a team of plainclothes officers arrived at the school. They coordinated with David, ensuring minimal disruption. The plan was simple: wait until Jordan was alone and detain him without drawing attention. David watched from his office window as the officers approached Jordan, who stood by the front gate chatting with a delivery driver. The scene unfolded with surprising speed. "Jordan Tanner," one officer called out, his tone firm. "You're under arrest for your involvement in child trafficking." Jordan froze, his sharp features hardening as he assessed the situation. For a split second, he seemed poised to run, but the officers were prepared. Within moments, his hands were cuffed and he was escorted off school property. News of Jordan's arrest spread quickly, leaving students and staff in a state of shock. David held an emergency meeting with the faculty to address the situation, carefully omitting Lena's role in exposing the danger. He emphasized the importance of maintaining a safe environment for everyone at the school. Meanwhile, Lena sat quietly in a corner of the cafeteria, processing the whirlwind of emotions. For the first time in months, she felt a glimmer of safety. Jordan was gone. The shadow of fear that had loomed over her began to lift. David found her there later that day. "They've taken him into custody," he said gently. "You're safe now, Lena. He won't be coming back." Lena nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. She grabbed her notepad and wrote, "Thank you for believing me." David smiled, the weight of the past weeks finally easing. "You didn't just save yourself, Lena. You saved this school. You saved those kids." With Jordan's arrest, Lena no longer needed to hide her voice. The police assured her that the gang's network had been dismantled and she could now live without fear. The following week, Lena called a meeting with the staff and students to share her story. Standing in the school's auditorium, Lena took a deep breath. For years, her silence had been her shield. Now it was time to break that silence. "Hello," she began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. The single word sent a wave of astonishment through the room. "I know many of you thought I couldn't speak," she continued, her words slow and deliberate. "For a long time, I pretended I couldn't. It was the only way to protect myself from a danger I couldn't escape." She shared her story, how she had witnessed the gang's crimes, how she had lived in fear, and how Jordan's presence at the school had threatened to upend everything. Her words were met with stunned silence, then applause. Students and teachers alike rose to their feet, their admiration for Lena evident. From that moment, Lena became more than a cafeteria worker. She was a symbol of resilience and courage, inspiring the school community with her strength. David Martinez stood at the back of the auditorium, his arms crossed as he listened to Lena's speech. Her bravery humbled him, forcing him to reflect on his own behavior. He remembered how he had underestimated her, even mocked her. The realization filled him with regret. Later that day, he found Lena in the staff lounge. "Lena," he began, his voice uncharacteristically soft. "I owe you an apology for how I treated you when you first came here. I was wrong. You're one of the strongest people I've ever met." Lena smiled, her eyes kind. "Thank you, Mr. Martinez, and thank you for giving me a chance even if it wasn't perfect at first." David chuckled, scratching the back of his neck. "Not perfect is an understatement, but I'm learning thanks to you." With the school safe and Lena's voice restored, life began to return to normal. But for Lena, normal meant something new. She transitioned from her role in the cafeteria to becoming a teacher's assistant and eventually a full-time teacher. Her unique perspective and compassionate approach made her a favorite among students. David, too, underwent a transformation. Inspired by Lena, he became a more empathetic and supportive leader. He implemented programs focused on inclusivity and understanding, ensuring that every member of the school community felt valued and safe. One afternoon, as Lena prepared for her first solo lesson, David stopped by her classroom. "You're going to be great," he said, his voice filled with genuine pride. Lena laughed nervously. "I hope so. Teaching feels big." "You've faced bigger challenges," David replied with a grin. "This will be a walk in the park." Years passed, but Lena's story continued to resonate within the school community. Her courage and determination inspired countless students and teachers. David often reflected on how much the school had changed since Lena's arrival, not just in policies, but in spirit. On the anniversary of Jordan's arrest, the school hosted a special assembly to honor Lena's bravery. As she stood on stage, now a beloved teacher, she looked out at the faces of her students and colleagues. "You all gave me the strength to find my voice," she said. "And now, it's my turn to help you find yours." The room erupted in applause, a testament to the profound impact Lena had made. Lena and David's journey was a powerful reminder that change begins with compassion, and courage can transform even the darkest of circumstances. Together, they created a legacy of hope, proving that when people come together, they can overcome anything.